Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. This is the Calm Mom Podcast. I'm Michelle Grosser, your host. Grateful you guys are with us today. Today we're going to talk about something that I think doesn't nearly get enough airtime in the wellness world, and it's what healing actually looks like, nervous system edition, right? We talk a lot about signs that you are dysregulated, but how can we notice when things are actually regulating and healing, and the things that we are starting to incorporate and shift and change are making a difference? Because, I mean, here's the thing, right? Nervous system healing isn't like fireworks and fanfare. It's often quieter and it's more subtle. And I think if we don't know what to look for, we might miss the fact that, real meaningful change is actually happening. It's happening inside of us. So if you've ever been putting this stuff into practice that you're learning on the podcast and just asking yourself like, hey, is this even working? Am I actually healing, or am I, just trying to do all this stuff? And I'm not really seeing the payoff, then this episode is for you guys. But before we jump in, I just want to ask, if you enjoy this show, if you've learned anything from the podcast, if you've hit play and put anything into practice and it's made a difference for you, your parenthood, your work-life balance, your health, any of these things, it would mean so much to me if you would take, 10, 15 seconds today and leave the Calm Mom Podcast a 5-star rating and a short review. I always say it, but I love hearing from you guys and I take your feedback to heart. And it's really so encouraging. And then second, it's really how we get the show out in front of other women, because it's my mission to get nervous system tools in front of so many moms. Like, we need to know this stuff, and then we need to turn around and teach it to our children. And when the show gets ratings and reviews, it just means that more women see it and come across it and can learn the things that you and I have been learning that have been making all the difference. So if you haven't yet, and you feel so inclined and you have a couple extra seconds that you could set aside, I'd be so grateful if you could leave the show a 5-star rating and a short review today. Okay, so let's jump in. I want to start by getting really clear on what nervous system healing actually means, because I think that can kind of get foggy too. Healing your nervous system, guys, does not mean that you're calm all the time. Healing your nervous system does not mean that you're never going to get stressed out or overwhelmed again, right? It doesn't mean that you just meditate on a mountain and sing Kumbaya and never lose your cool with your kids again. So if that's what you have been chasing, just let that go today. That is unrealistic. You are a human being, and you're experiencing real life, and that stuff's not real. But what it does mean is that you're increasing your nervous system's flexibility, right? You're increasing the ability of your nervous system to move and shift through different states. Can you experience stress and shift back into a state of rest? Can you experience activation and then shift out of that, right? Can you experience feeling some of that anxious energy, feeling a little amped up, but then coming back to a place where you can actually be present and connect with others, right? Without getting stuck in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. That's regulation. That's a nervous system that's resilient. It means you have the capacity to come back to baseline, right? I can get activated, come back to baseline. I can kind of space out and come back to baseline. And the way this happens is through something that we call neuroplasticity. And what that means is it's basically your nervous system's ability to rewire itself, right? We have the capacity to rewire our neural pathways based on what we experience in life. So what does that mean? It means that if we're consistent in these regulation practices that I teach and that you guys are learning, you're literally changing your stress response pathways in your brain, in your body, and you're building this new baseline for safety. So the goal is not to be calm all the time. That's actually not a healthy nervous system. A healthy nervous system is responsive, right? It doesn't just react to all this stuff. It actually responds. It means your system knows how to move through stress, how to manage stress, and how to come back down on the other side of it. It means you're able to feel your emotions without getting overwhelmed by them. It means that you can experience activation without spiraling into survival mode. And healing your nervous system, guys, it can be so subtle. And at the same time, it's just so powerful. So let's kind of go through these 4 signs that your nervous system is actually healing. And then the takeaway I want you guys to leave with today is 1, awareness that this is working and healing and you're making progress. And then 2nd, I want to give you some really practical things that you can keep doing to keep that progress going. Okay. All right. So sign number 1 that you are moving out of fight or flight and your nervous system is actually healing is that you are starting to see that you're able to respond more than you react. Okay. So if you are someone, when you think back 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, if you used to, snap at your kids for anything and everything, right? They spill something. They're running late. They're, having a spat and it's annoying. If you used to snap at your kids over everything and anything, or maybe, your husband would say what you thought was the wrong thing and you would snap at that, right? But now there's a moment, however brief, there is a growing moment between the trigger and then what you do in response to it. And that is a win, you guys. What's happening in your body as you're learning to regulate when it relates to impulsivity and being reactive is that when we notice that we're starting to have a greater pause between stimulus and response, it's a sign that your prefrontal cortex is back online. That's the part of your brain that's responsible for executive function and impulse control and perspective and our highest levels of communication. When you're in fight or flight, you guys, that part of your brain, offline. It just shuts down, right? It taps out. We don't need impulse control if we are running from a lion, a tiger, or a bear, right? We need the opposite of that. We need something super fast, an impulse to just run or fight that takes over. Prefrontal cortex goes offline so that our amygdala, which is way faster, takes over. It's our threat detector and it starts running the show. So if you're starting to notice, however subtle, that you're like, man, he said this, she said that, this email came in, they, disagreed with me about this, or whatever it was that used to really trigger you into a really quick reaction without you having time to choose how you're going to respond. If you're noticing that tiny little space, right? That pause, you can take a breath. You can actually choose how you respond. Those small moments mean that your nervous system isn't hijacking your higher brain function in the same way that it used to. So how do we keep this going? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep practicing your regulation tools, right? Breath work, bilateral movement, somatic release. These things will help strengthen your nervous system's ability to complete that stress cycle, increase that space between stimulus and response, and help your body return to safety. So that's the first sign. The second sign, and this is one of my favorites, and I love teaching about this and talking about this because I don't think we would necessarily associate it with our nervous system, But when you're shifting out of fight or flight, you guys, when your nervous system is healing, you start to be able to give people the benefit of the doubt. How beautiful is that, right? How beautiful is that to be able to give people the benefit of the doubt? And it's kind of sneaky because maybe you think back again, right, to when you were in fight or flight, and maybe you're here now, right? And you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I'm here and I'm seeing that there's going to be hope for me on the other side of this, and that I'm going to be able to experience these 4 things we're talking about today. But maybe you think back and you used to just assume the worst with people or just in situations, right? Your boss was mad. Your friend was like, didn't respond to your text right away. Your kids were, trying to push your buttons. That's what you thought, right? But now you're so much more open to other possibilities, to other scenarios, right? You're not so quick to assume what's happening. You're able to access curiosity or compassion before you start judging everyone and everything. What's happening in your body when you're able to do this? This is a sign, giving people the benefit of the doubt, is a sign that your ventral vagal system is more active. That's the circuit we're running in our nervous system when we're feeling connected to others, when we can access empathy, social engagement, when we feel safe. When all of those things are happening, when we're in our ventral vagal system, we're just naturally more generous in how we interpret life and how we interpret the things that other people do or don't do or say or don't say, right? And this is like, I don't know, I just think this is so cool. It's something that I really focus on with intention. Like, I want to be someone who gives people the benefit of the doubt, right? I want to assume that people are doing the best that they can because I actually believe that's true. Even when they're being crappy, I believe that all of us are always doing the best that we can with the resources that we have in any given moment, right? So if you're noticing that you're actually starting to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, it's not that they hate me or they're rude or whatever. It's like, oh, maybe there's something going on there that I'm not privy to, right? Maybe they're going through something. Maybe they've been really busy this week and that's why they haven't responded to my text, right? Have I ever taken a few days to respond to someone else's text? Yes, I have. So how do you keep this progress going? You engage in practices that strengthen that ventral vagal tone that we talked about. I just did an episode on this a couple weeks ago, how to strengthen your vagal, your vagus nerve, how to tone your vagus nerve. So things like humming, singing, co-regulating with others through safe relationships, body-based, like embodied gratitude practices. All these things will help tone your vagus nerve, which helps activate that branch of your nervous system that makes you feel really safe. And when you are safe, you're more generous in how you interpret the world, right? Not everything is a threat. So you can be curious instead of judgmental. The third sign that you, my friend, are shifting out of fight or flight is that you don't feel like you have to rush everywhere all the time. Like, how awesome is that? How good would that feel? When you're healing in your nervous system, you actually start to feel more present, right? You actually understand that there is enough time and you stop telling yourself the scarcity lie that there's not enough time, right? You stop feeling like you're behind 24/7. That is a huge nervous system shift. And now that I know this, when I start to feel like I don't have enough time, when I start to feel like I am behind or notice that I'm rushing, that's a red flag for me that I'm actually dysregulated and I need to go regulate. So when you finally stop feeling like you're rushing all the time, you guys, this is what's happening in your body. Having that constant sense of urgency, like you wake up and you're like, I'm already behind. There's so much to do today. There's not enough time. There's not enough help. Like that. That's a hallmark of a sympathetic stress response. That is like red flag waving. You are in fight or flight, my friend. But when you start to feel like time abundance, there's enough time. Actually, right now, if you like touch my phone and saw my home screen, I have a screensaver that literally says there is plenty. And more often than not, most of the time actually, I need that reminder when it comes to time, because I can be in seasons where it feels like there's a lot to do, right? I haven't really talked about this on the podcast, but Jeff and I just purchased a small business that we are learning how to run together. So it's like, I'm running the podcast. I have Burnout Recovery Blueprint and my one-on-one coaching practice. I'm homeschooling the girls, and now we're running this small business together, which is very new. It's a home services business. We've never been in that space before. And there's a lot to get done. Like Jeff's out there actually, training our team and doing the work and making things are running. I'm running the whole back end of this thing and setting it all up, right? I'm cleaning up someone else's mess who sold this business to us. And there's just a lot to do, right? And I don't want, my kids' homeschool to be sacrificed. And I still want my home to feel organized and tidy and orderly. And I still want to make nourishing meals for my family and all these things. And I can start to feel like there's not enough time for all of it. And I come back, and every time I, hit my phone and pick it up and look at it, I just get that reminder that, hey, there's plenty of time, right? And that helps signal to my body, like, I don't have to perceive the things I have to do today as a threat. We can move out of that like high alert, there's not enough scarcity mode, into this state of, okay, I'm regulated. I can get this. There's plenty of time for what I have to do today. Note what I have to do today, right? Or what I want to do today, not trying to do everything today. And that creates a sense of safety. So that's been helpful for me. You can take that on. The other thing that's really helpful, guys, is just like intentionally slowing down, slowing rituals. You can have them, right? Can you like sit in the morning before you start your day? Can you wake up before your kids and have a cup of coffee and do some prayer or journaling or meditation or reflecting or just sitting before you have to be mom and wife and, boss and all of the things? Can you go for a walk or work out without your cell phone? Can you, not eat at your desk and like down your lunch while you're working? Can you actually sit down to eat and not eat standing up, right? Can you remind yourself at meal times to like chew your food slowly and eat slowly and not just rush through everything, right? Can you set reminders on your phone a few times a day to just simply ground, breathe, notice your environment? All these different things, you guys, reinforce the message to your body. We don't have to rush. We're not running from a lion, a tiger, or a bear, right? There's no emergency here. All right, let's reset and let's do this from a place of safety and regulation. And then finally, the last sign that you guys might notice when you're shifting out of fight or flight and your nervous system is actually healing. And I love this one, and it's so, I don't know, it lights me up, but you start to get excited about things again. Like if you're sitting here and you can't remember the last time you got so excited about a new hobby or so passionate about like creating something or a project or even just like, I don't know, organizing your kitchen, right? Or maybe like planning a fun weekend thing to do with your family. Like those are things that I want you guys to feel passionate about and anticipate and excited about and just like experiencing joy again. And when you start to feel that, pay attention, because starting to get excited about things again is a sign that your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. Not just like the rest part, but the play part and the pleasure part and the aliveness part. And it means that your nervous system is no longer stuck in freeze and numbness and shutdown. And it means that your dopamine and your oxytocin systems are like kicking back on. Your brain is starting to reassociate life, right? With like possibility instead of just like, I don't know, drudgery and pain and obligation. And this is such a beautiful, exciting part of healing and regulating your nervous system. So if you've been experiencing that, you guys, like, keep going, do more of what lights you up, lean into it, right? Get more creative in how you can play, get curious about how you can create, like be silly, do the dance party in the kitchen, do the dumb stuff that makes your kids laugh, right? Tell the jokes, like get outside, go hiking, ride your bike, learn to skateboard, pick up a new hobby, right? Go, jump, do a cannonball in the pool. Like these are actually regulation tools, you guys. And they wire your nervous system for this beautiful sense of just like being fully alive and resilient. Okay. So those are the 4. There's so many others, but those are 4 that I wanted to point out to you guys. because healing your nervous system isn't always like obvious, right? But then when you start to think about it and reflect and you notice that you're making some of these shifts, like it's like, okay, maybe I'm on the right track here, right? Maybe I'm not just surviving anymore, but I'm starting to like reclaim safety and build capacity and just feel more like myself again. And if you guys want support on this journey, go ahead. If you haven't yet, grab my nervous system reset guide. There's a link to it in the show notes. It's free. It's a PDF that I made for you guys, but it's packed with science-backed tools that are going to help you start to regulate your nervous system and really feel better in your body. Healing doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. It can't be perfect, actually. It shouldn't be perfect, right? Life can be messy, but it does have to be practiced, right? Consistency, repetition over time. That's how we exercise the power of neuroplasticity. That's how we rewire our nervous system. So let's keep going at it together. Okay. Thanks so much for being here with me today. I love y'all so much. I'll talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Polygraphs, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.